To another show of New Hampshire Citizens for Progress. I hope you enjoy this one. We brought several people in here to discuss energy and state programs available to you, and not just energy policy and what's available. So I hope you continue to watch it.
Living smart and saving money. That's what thousands of homes and businesses throughout New Hampshire have been doing for more than a decade thanks to New Hampshire Saves. New Hampshire Saves provides great rebates, helpful tools, and handy tips to help you save energy, money, and the environment. Visit nhsaves.com and start living smarter and saving money today. New Hampshire Saves. Good for you and good for New Hampshire. Powered by Eversource, Liberty Utilities, New Hampshire Electric Co-op, and Unitil.
Don?
Thank you. I am Don Kreis, the state's consumer advocate, and my job is to advocate at the Public Utilities Commission and other places on behalf of residential utility customers, because the utilities are big businesses that have a lot of resources that they use to make sure that the shareholders get as wealthy as possible, and my job is to sort of push back against that on behalf of all of us, the customers that pay for the utility service. And I was very excited to have the opportunity to come on this program today to talk about I think what's really at the top of my agenda, because I think the thing that I can deliver for residential utility customers that is the most valuable to them is energy efficiency, because really the cheapest and most efficient thing that all of us can do to meet the next bit of energy that they need is to become more energy efficient. And you, meaning all of us, are paying for energy efficiency on our electric and natural gas bills. So there are ratepayer-funded energy efficiency programs available to every customer in the state, and I'm here to spread the word about how to access those programs, why they're important, and why that is a key part of our collective energy future at a time when we need to be addressing the challenges of climate change and affordability.
And thanks for having me. My name is Ray Burke, and I work for New Hampshire Legal Assistance. I'm an attorney there. New Hampshire Legal Assistance is a nonprofit law firm, essentially, and we provide legal representation and advocacy to low-income individuals and households here in New Hampshire on a range of issues. I currently direct our Energy and Utility Justice Project, so I'm here to talk specifically about energy efficiency measures program that's available to low-income households called the Home Energy Assistance Program, and as well as a number of other different programs available to ratepayers who meet certain income guidelines to try to help make sure they can access affordable utility services. I also do some other work at New Hampshire Legal Assistance on our public benefits project that I'd be happy to talk about later, as well as some of the other areas that New Hampshire Legal Assistance, different issues that we work on there.
Glenn.
I'm Glenn Willett, and I'm helping you co-host today, and I'm also the chairman of the Citizens Committee here in the city of Manchester.
I thank you, Glenn, and I thank you all for being here. Don, when I go to New Hampshire Saves website, I see that it covers quite the variety of programs and resources that are available to people. Some of it being for individuals, some of it being for businesses or municipalities, and even with that, and it varies. Could you give us a basic idea of what I look at when I go to your site, and what major topics that you're covering at this point?
Sure. Well, let me just stress first off that it's not really my site. nhsaves.com is actually a website that was developed by the state's electric and natural gas utilities. In this state, we task the state's public utilities with delivering ratepayer-funded energy efficiency programs, and the brand that they invented for that purpose is called NH and the website is nhsaves.com. So when you click on that web address, the first thing you should keep in mind is you are already paying for these programs, and so you should take advantage of them. And then the website itself asks you, well, are you a business or are you a residential customer? And we're really thinking, or I'm really thinking about residential customers. So if you click right on the part of the website that goes to the residential programs, you see that there are basically two ways of improving your energy efficiency. You can either look at building a brand new residence, and there are programs that are designed to make sure that new dwelling places are as energy efficient as possible. But since most of us are not buying or building a new home for ourselves, I think the places on the NH Save program that are going to be the most interesting to people who might be watching this program are the things that you can do as a person already living someplace, but who might need, say, a new appliance, like a new dryer or a washer or a air conditioner or something like that. And you'll see that there are all of these rebates available to you that you can take advantage of. And the idea is that energy efficient appliances and devices are a little more expensive than the non-energy efficient ones, and the rebates that are available sweeten the deal so that it makes it more attractive to you initially, and then over the life of these devices that you use in your home, you save lots of money by making them more energy efficient. And then of course you emit less carbon as a result of using your dryer or your washer or your dehumidifier or your pool pump if you happen to have a swimming pool, or all the light bulbs in your house. I mean, we're at the point now where if you have one of those old-fashioned light bulbs in your house, you need to get with the 21st century. And there are still
As
rebates.
an electrician, I'd like to comment on that.
Okay.
I mean, as a renter as well, I mean, I bought my bulbs from Eversource. And it was a lot cheaper to buy the bulbs from Eversource. I could get a whole pack. And the efficiency, at least what I seen previously, and that was quite a while ago. I haven't been active in the trade since 2013, but it was almost like a multiple of 4. I mean, what's costing me, let's use for an example, an incandescent, $1.25 to run it, it's costing me about 25 cents for the fluorescent compact bulb instead. So it's almost a multiple of 4, the savings.
And the compact fluorescents aren't even the latest technology. The latest technology are the LEDs, light emitting diodes, and those things are just awesome. And so it behooves everybody, to the extent they can, to completely retrofit all of their lighting. And I think as we look ahead, there are going to be fewer rebates for LED lighting, because the theory across the country is that we're first of all, that unless the Trump administration manages to put a stop to it, we're not even going to sell people incandescent light bulbs anymore. So, but as of now, you can still get a nice little rebate and discount on your LED bulbs, and so nobody should be installing incandescent light bulbs at home anymore for anything.
Well, I'm proud to say that all my lighting is LED. I work at Home Depot, so I know exactly where the savings are, and they should all be using LED.
Ray, I want, in that same vein, you guys represented assistance in different ways. You have an energy assistance program, weatherization, electric and fuel assistance. Could you give us a little background in regards to that?
Sure. So our Energy and Utility Justice Project at New Hampshire Legal Assistance does a lot of advocacy around several of the programs you just mentioned. And again, our focus is really trying to advocate for access to affordable utility service. And we really view several different programs as each one being a key piece of the puzzle for folks here in New Hampshire. So as I mentioned, as we talked about, there is a low-income energy efficiency program. So if you go to nhsaves.com, the website we were just talking about, you can access information specific to that program, and it covers a lot of what Don was just talking about. There's rebates for not only appliances and light bulbs, but if low-income households need repair of their heating system, and there's certain situations where they can qualify for a rebate to cover that. And the big one that I think folks get, where they get the biggest bang for their buck, is if their home is eligible for full weatherization, to do insulation, to kind of seal up those air leaks, you know, living in New Hampshire, we have some of the oldest housing stock in the country, and what we know is that our low-income neighbors tend to live in housing that you know, is not using the latest materials, is in disrepair, and through the Home Energy Assistance Program, which is the ratepayer-funded energy efficiency program, or through the Weatherization Assistance Program, which is the federally funded weatherization program, low-income granite staters can potentially be eligible to weatherize their home, insulate it, and seal up those leaks, as I mentioned, which as Don alluded to, we really view as more of the longer-term solution to energy affordability. We know that the research shows nationally, I unfortunately don't have specific numbers for New Hampshire, that low-income households tend to pay disproportionately more of their income on energy costs than non-low-income households, up to 3 times as much when you look on a percentage, how much they're spending based on a percentage of their income. And unfortunately, that often puts people in a difficult choice of trying to decide should they pay their utility bill or for other basic necessities such as food or medical care. And so I can talk in a moment about some of the other programs available to help provide some relief, but really we see energy efficiency measures as the longer term sustainable solution. As Don sort of, I think, mentioned, the cheapest form of energy is the energy you don't use. And so to the extent that we have some of the least efficient housing here in New Hampshire, it's important that, and this is what our project does at NHLA, is we try to advocate for policy and funding to make sure that our clients can access these programs too. There's but let me briefly mention some of the other programs that people can access to help. Are the electric assistance program that I think you mentioned, which for people who qualify, they can receive a discount on a certain portion of their electric utility bill. Recently, the income guidelines were just changed, so this is a timely. It's timely to be here and let your viewers know that it used to be, the income limit used to be for households with income at 200% of the federal poverty level could access the electric assistance program, but the Public Utility Commission recently approved a change so that now you can qualify if your income is up to 60% of the state median income. What's nice about that is it lines up with the income guidelines for another program called the Fuel Assistance Program, which is a federal program that provides funding to help pay heating costs. And so that program, for a while, the income eligibility guidelines have been at 60% of the state median income, and now the Electric Assistance Program lines up with that, and oftentimes folks can submit one application for both programs. So if someone's receiving fuel assistance and they're not getting the Electric Assistance Program discount, they should make sure to contact their local community action agency and apply for that.
So they can get both.
Yes, yeah. There's no, and they can apply for oftentimes to access the energy efficiency programs in the same application. And if they're eligible for fuel assistance, they should now be eligible for all the programs. There is a little difference in the federally funded dollars for weatherization, but I think the most important message for your viewers is to contact your local community action agency here in Manchester. That would be Southern New Hampshire Services. They could submit one application and let them know that they're interested in all these different programs, and they can work with Southern New Hampshire Services to determine exactly where they are and what opportunities might be available to them.
So it seems like the important thing then is for folks to remember that if you're interested in accessing the general energy efficiency programs, nhsaves.com is helpful, and it will sort of zap you over to your friendly neighborhood utility. But if you're interested in the low-income programs and you think you qualify, and more people do qualify now, then the access point is your friendly neighborhood community action agency. So sort of different points of contact depending on which part of this program you're trying to access.
Yeah, I think I want to toss in that when I went to your website, it took me a couple steps to get there. But what happened was, I went there, strategic and initiatives, then I went to programs, initiatives, and then there was the community action was a part of that, and that gave me all the locations and phone numbers in the state of New Hampshire from that point. But it took a couple steps. One of the nice things about the website was the choices I made were still on the left-hand side. So I was in the strategic initiatives and I clicked on the programs. That stayed all my choices, and then what I was viewing on the screen, I got to what I wanted. It was I really liked that. It was nice to be able to, if you make a mistake and go to the wrong place, you don't have to back up or figure out where you were, and you can just do it clicking on the screen. So it was real easy.
Yeah, and there are several different state agencies and federal agencies and utilities that are involved, so it can be depending on which program you're applying for. But the nice thing here in New Hampshire, the state agencies, the relevant state agencies and our utilities all work closely with the community action agencies, and they are, for, again, as Don mentioned, for low-income folks, they're the best point of contact for all of these programs, and then for the non-low-income programs, nhsaves.com would be the way to go.
So for energy efficient, it's fair to say then, from what both of you have discussed so far, is that just building new housing does not take care of the efficiencies of the old housing, which we have lots and more of than the new housing.
Absolutely. We have such a extensive stock of existing housing. I mean, we can't afford to just knock everything down and start over, and so people are going to be living, for the most part, in existing buildings. So it's really important, I think, to take the existing housing stock and make it as energy efficient as possible. And, you know, Ray's been using the word weatherize, and that's the term of art in the industry, weatherization. Mm-hmm. But I don't even know if that captures adequately what this is really about. It's really about your being comfortable in your home and being able to afford your utility bill. It comes down to that. And you know, the utilities don't need to care, because the more you have to pay for your electric bill or your natural gas bill.
We were talking about weatherization as being a very effective means with our older housing stock here to save money for both the tenants, for the normal citizen. But in a lot of cases where it's a rental unit, it's the landlord that's going to initiate this action. And from my experience, there seems to be a lot of misinformation in that regards. Can you clear that up for us?
This is, I think, the most vexatious problem we confront in the energy efficiency realm, right? Because it's the landlord that owns the building and is responsible for implementing measures that make the property more energy efficient, but on the other hand, it's usually the tenant that's paying the energy bill and suffers the consequences of a residence that's too cold and drafty, right? So what do we do about that? So we're still working on solving that problem, but it's important for the landlords of the state to know that they have access to these ratepayer-funded energy efficiency programs, and oftentimes they get to access them through the programs that are for commercial customers, because if you're a landlord, your residential housing unit that you're operating is considered a business.
And for landlords that may have low-income tenants that would qualify for the Home Energy Assistance Program, they sometimes could be eligible for a larger rebate. So in the Home Energy Assistance Program, again, the ratepayer-funded energy efficiency program, depending on the circumstances, the household may be eligible for up to $8,000 to weatherize the home, install other energy efficiency measures that we've talked about. And so, you know, I really encourage folks who are renting to talk to the community action agencies, to talk to their utilities. They can help have the conversation with the landlord, because it may be because those tenants live there, they can access a larger rebate than otherwise might be available in the non-low-income residential energy efficiency program.
Yeah, I think I want to share with people out there that as an electrician, when I updated or installed some commercial, mostly commercial or industrial environments, a lot of times they were updating for energy efficiency, and the rebates of the lighting systems that were covered and what they were going to improve to, the rebate did not exactly pay for the whole. It paid quite a bit towards it. So the labor and materials towards putting the more energy efficient equipment in was partially paid for by the rebates that existed with that. But where the big bang for the buck came in was the electric bill thereafter. Now the savings that you have from that, and I think Glenn was expressing that in regards, he wanted in the cost of bulbs versus incandescents. They're cheap to buy. They got a certain amount of hours to them, which I think is 6,000 or 8,000, and I'm not sure about the LEDs, but the compact fluorescents are 20 to 28,000 hours, and so over time, even though it costs you more for the energy efficient product, that over time it actually costs me substantially less than the other product.
Yeah, well, we all, as consumers of everything, have to learn to take the long view, right? I mean, there's a payback period that you can expect from these energy efficiency measures, and ideally, the rebate that you get makes the payback period short enough so that even if you're a short-term thinker, like most of us are, it still looks like an attractive proposition. So that, yeah, you're paying more for your appliance or your light bulb or whatever it is, but you know, over a span of say 2 or 3 years, you're going to come out ahead. And if you know that, then you're going to be more likely to make the investment than if it would take you, 30 years to come out ahead. 30 years is a long time. 2 or 3 years is a reasonable amount of time, because most of us expect to still be here in 2 or 3 years.
In fact, the new LED lighting that is now coming out, and the new generation that I'm seeing at the hardware stores, it doesn't say hours anymore. It says your light bulb is good for X amount of years, 13, 14, 100 years. No, I wouldn't say 100 years, but I've seen as much as 30 years. So if it's well used, it's a big change.
Yeah, because if you make that payback in 3 years, and then it turns out the light bulb lasts another 27 years, well, it's basically free at that point. So that's great.
One thing I'd like to point out with the weatherization, though, too, if this is the case where it qualifies, it gets updated, some of the rebate doesn't pay for all of it, but in this case, the landlord's not seeing the savings in his cost of energy. What he is seeing is the fact that he did this, that his resale value or the value of the property when he goes to sell it, because he participated in the weatherization program, would be better than a building that didn't have it.
Right, the landlord's property is more valuable, and when the landlord goes to sell to the next owner, that will reap more in the sale, which is part of why we need to make sure that the people who sell real estate for a living understand all these things. And you'd be surprised how little they sometimes understand about what energy efficiency does to the value of real property in every sector in the state.
I think we're running down there for time. We'll probably get right around 5 minutes, just a little bit more. I think what I'd like you to do is take turns between the two of you for a couple minutes and really identify. We didn't identify a good background of what each of you provide through to the public or business or municipality. So that's what I'd like to accomplish.
Well, I'll just start by saying that I forget which famous actress said living well is the best revenge. This is the best revenge if you think the way I do, that it is important to make sure that we get as much as we can out of the monopoly service that our public utilities provide to us. I looked at the latest figures for what ratepayer-funded energy efficiency delivers, and on your electric bill, it's the system benefits charge, by the way. And it turns out that we're basically providing energy efficiency to people at an overall cost to ratepayers of 3.7 cents per kilowatt hour. That compares very well to every other source of energy that we have. And I think it was the energy guru Amory Lovins who basically said, the United States is the Saudi Arabia of nega barrels. He invented the term, negawatts to really talk about all this push to using our system more efficiently. So I would urge people to access their energy efficiency programs and maximize their energy efficiency potential essentially as a way of getting revenge against that investor-owned utility company that is out there basically trying to make as much money off of you as possible. My job as the state's ratepayer advocate is to push back against that as best I can, and I'm absolutely convinced that the best thing you can do is to access these energy efficiency programs. That is job one for all of us.
And I could say a little bit more about my work at New Hampshire Legal Assistance. As I mentioned, I'm an attorney at NHLA, and in our Energy and Utility Justice Project, we not only do advocacy around the programs we talked about today, but we also are able to represent individual clients. So specifically, if someone is facing a potential disconnection from utility service, or if they were denied access to one of these programs, the electric assistance program or the fuel assistance program, they can contact us at NHLA to ask for help. And we can't always take all the requests for assistance we get, but in many instances we can help the client try to resolve whatever situation they're facing. And we do similar work in our other areas. So I also happen to work on our public benefits project. So for folks who are having issues accessing various public benefit programs such as Medicaid or food stamps, if they are denied, their application is denied, or if their coverage is terminated, they can contact us at NHLA to help take a look at their situation and give them some advice and possibly represent them to appeal the adverse decision. NHLA also works on housing issues, so we try to help preserve affordable housing for folks who may be at risk of being evicted or losing a Section 8 voucher, for example. We also have a domestic violence project to help survivors of domestic violence, and we have a youth law project and a senior law project. And so folks can access our website at nhla.org and take a look at all of the issue areas that we cover. We don't work in every area of civil legal issue that someone might have, but we certainly cover a lot of ground. We're a statewide organization, so we have offices all across the state and can consider representing folks no matter where they're located. And if you're eligible for our services, we provide them at no cost to you. So as I said, we're a nonprofit law firm, and in addition to individual client representation, we do some policy advocacy at the State House and with various state and federal agencies to try to advocate for solutions to the issues that our clients are facing on a daily basis.
So I want to thank everyone for watching this show, New Hampshire Citizens for Progress. I do put these shows up on YouTube, and there'll be a description of the show, and the links to these agencies will be on that. It's Rick Maynard. My grandson's in a Mario outfit. Looks like he's trying to hug the camera. There's lots of Rick Maynards, but there's only one grandson. Well, thank you. I hope you're all well. Be safe, be happy. Take care.